Hey everybody, it's Craig Syracusa. Welcome to another episode of Walk in Faith. We are at NRB, and today we're sitting down with Michael Scott, one of the founders of Pure Flix, CEO. How are you, Michael?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing awesome. It's great to be on the show, Craig. This is going to be, I really enjoy it. And I've known you guys for years, and so Walk in Faith is awesome.
Thank you. I know you guys carried my show for a while. That was when you guys were first, was it?
Yeah, we started
stages?
in 2005, but we were just kind of getting going around 2010, 12. We were doing distributing a lot of movies, smaller movies, DVD movies and stuff like that. And I remember we were probably, David or myself were the ones actually doing the licensing, getting it out there. And I guess that's how you started. You start kind of as a one-man shop, and then it expands from there.
What was the vision behind Pure Flix? I mean, how did you guys come up with this idea?
I really, back in 2005, right, I came from the commercial side of the business. We did commercials for Apple and all the car manufacturers and everything like that. And what I saw was the power of media. In 30 seconds, you can, or in a single photograph, you could convince people to maybe make a decision to buy a computer, buy a car, everything like that. And I said, wow, if we could use that to really capture that and use it for the Lord in a positive way that could touch people's lives, that's what I wanted to do. In 2005, we launched Pure Flix with that mission to do movies, television, and media in general that would ultimately have a faith-based message to it. And that's how we kind of kicked into it. And, it was hard in the beginning, but I think always when you go through hard times, you come out on the other side smarter. You know how to do it, what to do, and the Lord began to bless it, and it took off from there.
But at the time, it wasn't, streaming platforms. When did you start doing the streaming platform where it was subscription-based? What year was that?
So in 2015, what I recognized was we'd release a movie, whether it go theatrically or in other places. People might go to a theatrical movie, go to the movies once a month, maybe once every 2 weeks, or some people go once a year. But what I realized was people, every day when they come home from work, that television typically goes on, and it'll run right through the dinner hour into the evening. And nowadays, you're watching on your phone, your tablet, and any other device, right? And I said, if we really want to get into people's lives, make a difference in the entertainment choices they're making, and give them something positive, uplifting, inspiring to watch, we need to do something. And that's when we launched the streaming service in 2015, so that we could be in people's homes on a daily basis if they were watching.
And you guys are the pioneers, because I've consulted on a few platforms, and they all, and even a lot of people I could say, and they all have the same vision. I want to be like Pure Flix, and they don't understand it. Acquiring content, the budgets. It's very difficult, and then it's easy to get people to watch, but how do you retain the subscription base? Because you see a drop off after a few months, a year. You have an amazing movie, right, that comes out, and then all of a sudden in a few months, how do you retain that? Yes. And then it's also, who do you work with? You can't just say yes to certain people. The vetting process,
it's a whole process.
Because I used to get emails and calls. So people think that if they stay very specific on the type of content, then they limit the amount of content they can take in. But if they open up their net, then they lose focus on the mission. Right. So how do you stay focused on the mission of Pure Flix?
And when we design the service, it is faith and family, and we're probably 50% faith, 50% family. But you come to the platform, you're not going to find the sex, the violence, the language that's gratuitous or anything like that. And so it's a safe environment. But you know what? I think ultimately we want to make a difference in people's lives. We want to give them the alternative of Hollywood. We want to be that light in the darkness. And that's really kind of the North Star that we look at, right? To say, does this content fit to that? There's lots of great content, even out of Hollywood, that we'll sometimes, we'll ask the producers or the studio, can you edit this? Because it works, but these 3 scenes don't. We can do stuff like that. But then we also find great faith-based media. And you're right, you got to constantly refresh it. We have 30, 40, 50 titles a month coming to the platform, and we have thousands of titles on the platform. And so there's always something new, whether you're an adult, a kid, teenager. We have something for you. We have action, we have romance, we have comedy, we have dramas, we have documentaries, we have something for everybody. We have great kids programming, cartoons. So a little bit for everybody. So whoever you are, I promise you there's something on there.
So what do you have coming up now? I know you guys are working on a lot of new projects. I see
we do.
At NRB, you guys are one of the main sponsors. What do you have coming up?
Well, we just, on the platform right now, we just launched our 4th film of the God's Not Dead series. It's called God's Not Dead, We the People. Incredible film. It's had viewers have loved it. I think it really touches on a bunch of issues that are near and dear to our members. And so I'd encourage people to check that out. Really great film. We are right now shooting in South Africa. an end time series called Revelation Road. For the guys, they're gonna love it. It's got action. It's kind of like a little bit of a Book of Eli meets the end times, if that makes sense. So it'll be really fun. We have a romantic comedy that's coming to the platform on Dr. Meg Meeker's best-selling book, Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters. It's kind of like a mix of like a Father of the Bride type thing, but with a faith-based message in it. So we got tons of stuff coming, new series, new movies monthly, and tons of other programming that we're licensing and bringing in. So there's always something new. You don't have to worry about, am I going to watch it in a couple days and then it's all done? There's always something new coming for them.
And you have unique content, because a lot of the streaming platforms have the same stuff.
We have a lot of exclusive content.
Yeah, you have content where I know I'm not going to find it on a free, streaming platform or on YouTube.
Right.
I mean, you have amazing content.
Right. And you don't have to worry. When you come to the platform, you know what you're going to get. It's safe. It's good for you. And ultimately, we want to build their faith, uplift them, right? We want to inspire them, bring them hope, encouragement, all of those things. So the type of content on there that's going to do that.
I could leave my son and my daughter and walk away.
Absolutely.
I was saying to Linda before about put on YouTube Kids, and I'm like monitoring like these ads that pop.
It's terrible.
I listen to Bishop T.D. Jakes, and all of a sudden I'm like, why is this ad?
Yeah.
I'm not part of that algorithm, but it comes on.
Right.
It's hard, right? It's hard because you have to pay the bills. It's a ministry. It's a mission. You got to serve the Holy Spirit. There's all these things. How do you operate as a CEO of Pure Flix? I mean, when you have to balance all that.
You do have to balance all these things. And what I would say is how we do it is because of our members, right? So many people come to me and say, we want more faith-based content. We want better faith-based content. If you out there listening want that, subscribe to services like Pure Flix. When a movie comes to the theater, that's a movie that you're like, this fits me, go see it. Because if we do that and we band together, what's going to happen is we're going to see the demand. We're going to be able to create better shows, more shows, and bring you more content, both theatrically, to our service, to everything like that. So as members we come together and we're going to build this. And I think this thing is, it will touch your lives, but then we're also, every member that signs up, we're able to take those dollars back, put it into content, and touch more lives. So you are part of not just being part of a service watching, but you're part of extending this service into other people's lives.
So you're investing in other people's lives.
That's right.
I love that. Well, how do you know that the content you're putting out is impacting people?
I can see it. The social media comments, the amount of viewing that's happening on the platform, we're touching hundreds of thousands, millions of lives every month.
And this is international, or is it mostly?
It's U.S. and Canada, but our next stage is to go international in different territories. We hear the feedback from the members, right? Saying, I watched that movie last night, and I identified with that character, and I knew what they're going through, and I saw how they made it, and that's what I needed. I needed it at the moment. People, and it's not just for Christians. The themes of forgiveness, redemption, hope, love, they're universal, right? So people that may not even be a Christian, come check it out. It will build you up. It will uplift you. It may take you out of a dark spot that you're in your life and touch you in ways you didn't know.
And you're right, because you have, I don't know the titles. There was one based on a biker gang, right? Then I forgot.
Sons of Thunder.
I knew the brother actually passed away. And then there was one of the hip hop stars. It was about a gang related film. You're creating unique content. So I created documentaries and films that would reach people that wouldn't usually watch faith-based films. Right. They come across the movie, it has action, they watch it. All of a sudden, the message is clear. I did a documentary, Ring of Faith, on boxing. Is boxing a sin or a gift from God? Because it reached an audience that was underserved. There are so many athletes that are, whether they're believers or they've fallen away from Christ, you give them something they want to watch, all of a sudden they're like, I never thought about God in that context. So you're creating films like that, a biker film, like that's not something I'm going to see on most faith-based platforms, because they'll find an issue with it. Yeah. But you're pushing it, but you're bringing the people to Christ, because there's no agenda. It's just saving souls.
That's right. And I would challenge anybody, come on, try it out for 30 days,
right?
A
7-day free.
Free day free. But come on, one of the things I've also encouraged people, I said, try Pure Flix. Get rid of all the other stuff in your life. Try Pure Flix for a month and just watch that, and you'll watch how your mind, everything, the way you think, the way you act, everything will change. We consume a ton of media, adults, kids, like that. We're watching all day long. If we all, I think we all, even myself, need to take account sometimes of what we're bringing in, because what goes in ultimately affects you, and that's what comes out.
Agree.
And so I think something like Pure Flix can really change your outlook.
Agree.
And I mean, I would encourage everybody watching, they can go to pureflix.com. They can sign up there. You can do it a monthly plan or an annual plan, and you can watch it on any device, anywhere, anytime, as much as you want, commercial free.
I advise everybody watching Walk in Faith to take advantage of that opportunity, that 7-day trial, or at least subscribe to Pure Flix. Cut Netflix out and subscribe to Pure Flix. We need wholesome content that we don't have to worry about my son, my daughter watching and not being influenced by the enemy or society or whatever else they want to try to sell to us.
Yep. Join with us. Make a difference. You make a difference in your lives and make a difference in others.
Thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me on, Craig. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Guys, hope you enjoyed today's episode of Walk in Faith. Always remember, you have the ability to inspire and evangelize through words and actions, and subscribe to Pure Flix. I'm going to be watching. Thank you so much, guys. Hey everybody, it's Craig Syracusa. Welcome to another episode of Walk in Faith. We're back at NRB with my new friends Matt and Dan, who, Jars of Clay, I have to say, I said off camera, I mean, first of all, you're here for The Chosen, which is what we're going to talk about, but the song The Flood had such an impact on my life growing up. In 95, was it?
Yeah, 94, 95 is kind of when that song made it out into the world. Yeah.
I think everybody knows that song. But more importantly now, you're here for NRB, The Chosen, which I think we're all fans. So how did you get involved in that? And were you first fans before you started to compose the music? How did that relationship start?
Yeah, well, let's see. Dallas Jenkins, who's kind of been the creator and director of the show, he's been a longtime friend of mine. We collaborated on a project, I think it was the year 2000, when we worked on a project that he was working on called Hometown Legend. Which was it was an independent high school football movie that I think every Christian filmmaker has to do their high school football movie. Like, it's just the rite of passage. So he was doing his, and he and I had met, and we really respected our various kind of philosophies on how art gets made and presented in the Christian marketplace. And so he, when he started working on his stuff, he asked if I would be a part of it, and I said yeah. So we did that film together, and it was a great experience for both of us. And then, fast forward now 20 years, he calls me up and he says, hey, I'm getting ready to do this show about Jesus, and I'm wondering if you would be up for doing the music for it. And I said no, because his pitch wasn't so good. I was like, I don't know, Dallas.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know that the world needs another story about Jesus right now. I feel like we've seen a lot of takes of this, and none of them seem to be very satisfying. The production value isn't great. And so I said, I don't know that I want to attach myself to that right now. And he said, okay, well, give me a week. Let me try to describe this better to you. And so a week later, he called me and just told me a little bit more about how he wanted to make something that was really different. And he wanted to disrupt, didn't want a normal story about Jesus. He wanted to do something that was going to kind of be provocative and be the kind of thing that gets people to care about Jesus again. And I was like, all right, I think I can try this. I'll do it. And at that point, Matt and I had been touring together. Matt had been playing cello out on the road with Jars, and And I just really appreciated and respected Matt's abilities as a musician, his instinct, and he's just was a great hang out on the road too. So I thought, well, he might be a really cool person to rope into this project. So I texted him and I was like, hey, Matt, do you think you'd be up for this? And he was.
You were up for it?
Yeah.
Did he have to sell it to you when you heard it? Or how did he present it?
Well, at first, I sort of like had the same thought that if it was a Jesus movie, I was a little apprehensive about, you never know what that's going to look like or what that's going to feel like. And I've seen a lot of bad Jesus projects, and all done with good intention, probably.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was somebody said the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I love that quote. But I figured, well, if Dan, because I knew that Dan and I were on the same page on a lot of things, and I thought, well, if this is a thing that Dan might be into, then I would love to work with him, and I think I could whatever it is, I could probably stomach whatever's going on if Dan is in on it. So, but yeah, I think just to clarify for everybody, I think a lot of people have thought that I am like a member of Jars of Clay, and
I thought you were, but let's just say honorary member of Jars of Clay.
There's another.
Well, you did say Jars, which means that he's had some sort of relation.
I was lucky enough to spend some time touring with Dan and the rest of the Jars boys for a few years. So I'm grateful for that.
And like you said too earlier, both of you guys said it. He said in one of the interviews, "It's not my grandfather's Jesus show," and I said, "It's also not my grandmother's music." This series has set the bar, created the bar from music to the visuals, the way it's shot, the action, the amount of time, the actors. I mean, there's a lot of thought, and the Holy Spirit, of course, but that's gone into that, because some of the Christian films and TV shows that come out, like you said, good intentions, but they don't always work out the vision. But this has really set the bar. So, what was the inspiration behind some of the music that you created throughout the series?
Dallas's original thing was he came and he said, I don't want, and this is what actually sold me on doing the project. He said, look, I don't want pretty, beautiful strings, lush, expansive orchestration. I want this to feel really different. I need a different palette, and that is what kind of got me interested in the project. And I thought, okay, well, I think we can create something really different. So, so I just started thinking about what are some unique elements that can connect both, an American audience, really, because at the time we didn't know that the show was going to cross oceans and have kind of this worldwide acceptance. So I was just thinking of people in my own country and going, all right, what are the palatable sounds that we can use that still nod to these elements of faith and spirituality? And so we started out with this idea of kind of like Indian drone. And it was really because that, if you look at Indian meditation or anything of that sort, when they're making music with this drone, they call it the God note. It's like the foundation. And then prayers and things happen on top of that, but that's the foundational element. And I thought, well, that would be a really interesting thing to have in a show about Jesus. Let's have the God note. And so we started with that, and then we were thinking about what is the music of oppression, because we're in a setting where the Roman Empire is really oppressing the Jewish community, and how do we score that? How do we tell that in music, and in a way that people here would recognize? And that palette piece became like slave spirituals. Like that's the music that I think most of us would equate to oppression, is the chain gangs and the music that came out of slave labor. And so I thought, well, let's add that in. And then the last piece was trying to find something that sounded in the realm of Middle Eastern music, but wasn't fully Middle Eastern music. And I thought the only thing on the American side of the pond that really works that same way is Delta blues music. And so we kind of created this this strange palette of Middle Eastern drone, slave spirituals, and then Delta blues, and thought, well, let's see what happens. And it shouldn't have worked.
It's
really,
a lot of thought that goes into. I thought you just
Right?
started the drum kit and just started to play
No.
music. There's a lot of thought and
Oh, yeah.
meditation and discernment that goes into music.
Absolutely. And so we started there, and then, Matt is just, he's a virtuosic musician, really, in a lot of ways, and plays guitar amazingly well, and was able to kind of execute this palette in a way that just brought it to life. And then we added Ruby Amanfu, and she is just phenomenal, singer originally, I think, born in Ghana, Africa, but she just kind of brings that ongoing kind of gospel mood into the whole program. And yeah,
Amazing.
and we're inspired by it when we get in and we have to use the palette. It still continues to be something that we can keep drawing from.
And now you have season 3, right? They're getting ready for season 3. Can you tell us about that? A little sneak peek?
Yeah, I don't know if there's much of a sneak peek to be done, but I just know that season 3 is going to be crazy, and it's going to have a lot of stuff going on, and I have no idea yet how that's going to affect the music. We will see. But yes, it's season 3 is about to go into production. I'm not sure if there's an estimation of when that's going to be done, but I would guesstimate it's going to be out before the end of the year. That's
Great. So what else do you guys have going on besides The Chosen? Where can people find you, whether it's social media or on tour? What do you...
Yeah, I play. I do a good bit of session work on the side as a cellist and string arranger, and so I play on a lot of people's records and have a little bit of music of my own, aside from what Dan and I do, and then we've also got the Chosen soundtracks. Seasons 1 and 2 are out, and CDs are available for purchase at thechosengifts.com. I am the Banks Nelson on Instagram and Twitter, I think. I don't tweet. I don't tweet very often. I think it's about the only social media I've got these days.
Yeah, I stay off of the social media. Just it makes my life a much better place when I'm not around in those spaces. So, but yeah, I mean, certainly Jars of Clay has things going on, and we're mostly dormant, but every once in a while we'll put out a little bit of a creative project. So yeah, that's probably the best for now, and then just keep an eye out for The Chosen.
Well, thank you guys so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Walk in Faith. Always remember, you have the ability to inspire and evangelize through your words and action, and check out The Chosen. Like I'm a fan. We've all been fans of this series. God bless you guys. Thank you for watching Walk in Faith. Please log on to emmausbrooklyn.org, and please support us and support the ministry as we continue to bring the Word of God through events at the Emmaus Center and shows like Walk in Faith. God bless you.